emotions nearly killed me a few weeks ago. Going live, good. Welcome to this free healing video on negative and repressed emotions. In this video, I'm going to talk about how negative emotions work energetically, how weaponized repressed emotions nearly killed me a few weeks ago, what I saw when I nearly got killed, and then some overall questions, how ghosts work, what exactly they are, and a few other questions, what is Gaia, etc., if I have time for that. So, the way negative emotions work is if you have something negative happen to you, your energy, it's 2 a.m, Hyro says, I'm doing it now because that's when my energy said it was the most optimal time. It doesn't matter, this will be around forever unless the internet disappears. Anyway, so the way negative emotions work, I'll just say this video in particular will be very helpful for anyone who has recently had their girlfriend break up with him, or their boyfriend if you're a woman, or anyone who's had just a hard life or has not been able to express their emotions. You say, well, that's everyone, isn't it? You can't just act on every emotion you have. And the answer is yes, you're exactly correct. So this is for everyone. So what happens when something negative energetically happens with you? Let's say someone insults you, alright? They call you a mean name. You feel, depending on how strong your emotions are, you may feel some anger, you may feel yourself getting hot. Now, if, for example, this person is not, and in general with the laws of society you can't just act on your emotions, but let's say a teacher, for example, is absolutely just picking on you, and you can't just hit your teacher, right? So you feel a lot of anger, and what you do, instead of repressing that anger, instead of acting on that anger, is this is perfect for you, Vince. What you do is you basically repress that anger, and what will happen is negative entities see this repressed anger and they'll take it and they'll either hide it away or they'll just push into it. Like you're angry, they'll push into you really hard. Whatever emotion you're having, the beginning is normally natural, and to an extent, and then they'll really dig their elbows into your back and make it significantly worse. What will happen is over time you will accumulate repressed emotions. For example, I have a friend, and he told me that every time he went to work, when he first started it was fine, but he had a very nasty boss, and just stepping in the door, even when the boss wasn't there, his energy associated this place with a negative area, and his emotions, he would feel it very strongly in his stomach, and he'd end up having quite a lot of stomach pain, and that was purely repressed emotions. Now, as we go through life, ideally, this is not a video to tell you to just act on your emotions. What you will do is you'll put up with your boss, alright? She sucks. And then you will either play this video or you'll get to a point where you'll be strong enough to clear up your own emotions, and that won't stack up. Otherwise, what happens is, let's say, as your boss is peeking on you, each time she just puts a new stone in your hand. And after a few days of this, or a few months, you end up carrying just like a ton of stones, and then each time she does something else, she just puts another stone on top, and it depends how sensitive you are, and different people, their body manifests anxiety and negative emotions in different ways. You may feel your hands heavy, most people stomach pain. Oftentimes you may just put it to the back of your mind, and we get very used to doing that. You put it to the back of your mind and you just don't even really think about it. So if you've got just a mean coach, if you're at a sport, not quite sure where these analogies are coming from, or if you've got a mean teacher, right, and they pick on you and you're like, okay, well, I can't do anything about this, next, and then suddenly you just start getting just chest pain out of nowhere. You're like, why is my heart hurting every time I'm in math class? And the answer is you have just repressed these emotions and you don't even comprehend that they're there. So this healing video, and the way I'm going to do healing videos from now on, is going to be interactive to an extent. What you will do is this healing video will turn you into a large pillar of positive energy. I'll go into more intricate details later on, but right now what you do is put your hands like this you want to make them in the shape of, say, a pillar of energy. And then the wider the pillar is, the more this energy is affecting your overall surroundings. Now, you may say, oh, well, I don't want to help my brother or someone else who's near you who's just malicious. That's fine. If you don't want to help them, that's up to you. You can just say, don't affect these specific people. But what you'll do is, the more condensed the pillar is, the more energy you will have and the more it will work. So you may take the pillar and then just gradually push it in, and you'll get to here pretty much a closed fist if you can contain all the energy. You may get to here and just got a lot of resistance. That's perfectly fine. Don't just keep pushing, alright? You're better off having this go for the hour or so I go than 5 minutes and then you're like dead tired because you've just crammed as much energy in as you can. I'm going to also put a throttle on this so you can't massively overdo it. So if you play 20 tabs, you're not comatized. So don't worry too much if you overdo it. So it's up to you. Make the pillar as big or small as you want. The other people around you, let's say in a room of about, well, let's say house, say 20 meter radius, so long as they're positive, energetic people, they can actually use this energy, it will also turn them into a pillar. That is how I did the healing video for the black ball energy 2 months ago, and that is how I'm going to do healing videos unless I come up with another way that I think works better and revolutionize it. Then I'll improve on it. But for right now, take the pillar and do whatever you want with it. So as this energy works on you, and if you're new to this, you can mute the video or you can listen and play along, no problem. Yeah, it works just as fine listening to me, but you don't have to listen to me, especially if you've played this through once. You don't need to just hear me say the same thing over and over again. As you feel this energy, when I clear my mainly repressed emotions, I don't normally leave negative emotions on top of me. I try very hard to stay on top of that, but you will feel, it can vary, but often just weights coming off of your shoulder. This ton of bricks you're carrying from your boss will be gone. And when you go into work, the stomach pain, depending on how bad it is, this may just fully get rid of it, or it may take it down a lot. But overall, in time, you will fully get rid of it, and you can hang around your boss, and your overall energy isn't just absolutely, making your life much more difficult than it should be. So you'll feel physical pain leaving. Overall mental clarity should rise up. You may have some repressed emotions come out of your body. The way I see repressed emotions is there are mainly two kinds, and I'll talk about weaponized repressed emotions later on. But for regular repressed emotions, ones that negative entities haven't weaponized against you, essentially, let's say your girlfriend breaks up with you and you cry, right? And even if you're crying a lot of emotion, a lot of that energy just seeps into you, and you end up with, the color usually changes depending on the emotion. Sadness, grief is usually just black, so you just have a black palantir or a black sphere of energy. And anger, red, anxiety, yellow. This is also the aura colors. This would have a lot to do with, this video would do a lot to clear up your aura. The aura is your overall, it's a reflection of what's going on in your emotional state energetically. So red anger, yellow anxiety, a kind of noxious green is normally queasiness. So what are the positive colors? Well, joy is usually light blue. Happiness can be gold. It's usually a goldish color. Joy, it can vary depending on people's own energy. It can be light green, it can be light purple, but we don't need to worry about the positive emotions. If you do have a positive emotion, unfortunately, let's say you get a promotion, something great happens to you. What will happen is, let's say, you're joyful for that time. If you're just like, no, I don't have time to be joyful, I have to get back to work, the joy energy doesn't repress into you. Unfortunately, the negative energy and negative entities will just push it out straight away. Okay, so you don't get to repress your joy energy and then go, oh, I'd like to experience the joy from 3 months ago. No, That's gone, unfortunately. If you can get your body into a very positive state and clear of negative emotions, you should be able to start storing positive energy. But for now, we're not going to worry about that. So the two kinds. One is just a sphere of energy, and what this video will do is it will essentially crush that energy and clear it. While it clears, you may feel like it's oozing out of your body, especially out of your joints. You may feel sad. This is throttled, so especially if you're playing this while asleep, you're not going to, ideally, wake up just covered in tears. And the other kind is one that negative entities have blocked off. So there's usually keyholes in there, and then I just make keys out of energy and turn it, and then it unblocks pretty easily. So I'm going to talk about why I'm doing an emotional video and what happens. Essentially, I'm going to tell a story chronologically. I'll just check the chat. I have seen your question, Adam, and I will get to it near the end. Hello, Miyuki. Hello, Vicky. Hello, Vince. Hello, Thais. How will this work if you're wearing headphones? It will not work if you're... No, of course it'll work if you're wearing headphones. It does not matter. You don't need audio. So long as it's in your vicinity, even if... I'll set the distance. I'll check right now. 30 meters. You can be 30 meters away from a computer or laptop, and it can go onto you so long as you have the intention for it to. And this will also go, so long as you have the intention to not have it on and you're a good person, it won't go onto you. But if they don't have any intention, for example, you're playing it and your daughter's downstairs, it will turn her into a massive pillar as well. So, yeah, the story, essentially, I think I considered not sharing this, but I think it's very helpful because I am not invincible when it comes to energy work. I spend all my time, one thing I am very good at is being tenacious, and I spend all my time when not working on clients, working on myself, practically. So I'm doing a lot of talking with my hands. I think I've got my own nerve things. I can actually see, as I'm doing this, a lot of nervous energy, yellow anxiety energy coming off of me. If, for example, you do get a lot of anxiety at work or school, just play this on your phone and it will, because that's come right up to the surface and it's just really affecting you. Massive burning in your chest. Yeah, you may feel electricity feeling, you may feel burning. It just depends what kind of entities and how they've weaponized your emotions against you. But I tell this story, not for any kind of sympathy, but because when, if someone else were to go through this, I think it's very helpful to know my steps and how I go about clearing things, especially when I have no idea what I'm dealing with. So about 5 weeks ago on Sunday, I'm going to tell this story chronologically, because that's how you tell good stories. And then I will elaborate on specific things I feel like elaborating on that I feel will benefit others. So on Sunday, around, let's say, 7 p.m, I started getting really... please explain more twin flame stuff. Okay. I'll come back to questions after I'm through this. So I started getting really bad stomach pain on the lower left side of my stomach. And I thought, okay, this stomach pain, this is usually associated with an energetic purge. I've had quite a few of these before. What will happen, and these healing videos I've heard have triggered them in a few other people, which is a positive thing. If this healing video erases a major entity or a bit of your energy is just blocked and locked up, your energy will go through a metamorphosis and try and get this energy out of you, and that will often involve you go to the toilet, you have possibly an hour or two of annoying discomfort, and then you're fixed. So Sunday night I got this really just excruciating pain there, and I thought, okay, this is a purge, and it just was not going away. So I ended up going to sleep, which is for me a coping mechanism for how I deal with pain. I tend to just try and sleep it off. So I went to sleep, and the next day I woke up and it was quite a lot lighter. I didn't feel like eating much around lunch, and it was still there to an extent. At night I ate a usual amount. I have 2 meals a day. That's important to this story. So, and this pain would get quite a lot worse after I ate. So it would usually, I'd eat, it'd get excruciating, and then it would gradually go down. So I had the choice of not eating, which I wasn't going to do, that would make me just weaker overall, or I had the choice of figuring out what was going on and preventing it. So Monday night I got this really bad pain. I could not get a purge to happen, and it was very annoying, but after a few hours, and I wasn't just sitting there going, okay, this is going to go away. I was actively clearing my energy, looking around. What often happens when you have a major energetic attack or just something bad going on is you can clear an awful lot of things, but if you don't clear the main things, this won't fix it. So, for example, when I was clearing on Monday, I would find a whole lot of implants, find a whole lot of problems, and just clear, go through it all, and the pain would go down, but then it would go up, because I hadn't actually found the core of it. After a while, the pain went away. I believe I went to bed that night in a lot of pain as well, and then Tuesday, it was still there a bit in the morning, and I ate at lunch and had a lot of pain, just absolutely, it was still there. And I'm pretty good at handling excruciating pain. I'm no stranger to it. But I was just... It's very annoying when you're in pain for a lot of days. It's like, if I can't fix this energetically, do I have to shoot myself to get out of it? Like, I couldn't figure out, and I clearly wasn't going to do that. I was trying very just hard to figure out how to escape this pain that I was in and fully get rid of it for good. So on Tuesday, I was still clearing. Often when I'm clearing, I'll come, especially when I'm trying to figure out something that I can't find, I'll find other things. I found a new entity race that I call the Purple Luxurians. If you've ever played a video game that didn't have much of a budget, or the developers were lazy, there'll be a henchman who wears green clothes and a brown vest, and then you'll go to the next level and he'll now be in yellow clothes and a red vest. And then the next level he'll be in blue clothes and a black vest. It's just a recoloring of basically the villains. That's similar to how entities are. Purple Arcturians, they're just blue Arcturians, and you can just Google them again. They're just blue anorexic women. They're pure evil. But these were just them, but stronger and purple and hidden. So I was racing them and thinking, well, maybe a lot of energy work, it's like computer work. It's like, okay, turn it off and on the wall. It's just trial and error, so it's like maybe they're causing it. I'm not going to rule them out. So I was erasing purple Arcturian entities and implants, and the pain got really bad in the afternoon, to the point where I actually asked someone for help. Chris, who's a moderator here, he may be in the chat. I asked him if he could have a look, and he said he saw some reptilians and other things. And while he was having a look, I went and... This is a very good tip. If you're having a lot of energetic pain, a lot of problems, and you can't get it to shift, hop in grounded water. That can be the beach, or it can be a bath or a shower. So I poured a bath, and I was in there, and I was looking at my energy, and he used the God Bubble, which gave me... Basically, my energy went from here to here, and the bath in particular brought down the pain. So I was having some breathing room, and I could see in my energy essentially positive energetic cores, which are... just picture spheres or marbles, and they were green and mainly purple and blue, but a few gold, a few silver, and I thought, oh, okay, so this must be some kind of positive energetic core balancing that is having a lot of trouble and is really making me feel it. So I was using my energy and twisting those, and I asked another person as well at the same time, and they said they saw some toadstools, so I was clearing those, and as I fixed these energetic cores, the pain went from basically an 8, while Chris was helping me, down to about a 6. And I thought, okay, good, I'm making progress. Let's see if this stays. And then on Wednesday, I worked on it and just kept working on it, and I realized it's not the root cause. I was just spending a lot of time when I wasn't working with clients just on that, and it was just like down, up, down, up. And if this was the cause, it would have just gone down, 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 maybe a bit up, down, down, down. So that wasn't the cause. On Thursday, the pain got really... the pain was still there, and it was like, excruciating pain doesn't get worse. It just stays excruciating, okay? It's like, it's a 10. It's not moving. I'm like, I need to get rid of this. Now I'm going to talk about positive beings in this matrix, because if I don't, this part won't make much sense. essentially in our own energy and the world overall, there are matrix fences. They keep negative, well, they keep us in the matrix, and they keep other things sealed in the matrix as well. And often I'll find in people's energy and the world overall, negative matrix fences, and sometimes I'll erase them and there'll be something negative in there, but oftentimes I'll erase it and there'll be a positive energy being who they couldn't or didn't kill for whatever reason, and he was just, or she, was just stuck. So I've seen a few positive beings before. The way I'll do this, yesterday I was at the beach doing some energy training, and I could see some nature spirits that just looked like basically humans who were made out of green energy, and I thought I'll have a look at the fences here, to just do with nature energy in this area overall. And I made the intention with my energy to see the most optimal matrix fence for me to destroy. So I saw this big black matrix fence, and I just energetically erased it, and out came this giant Cthulhu entity, and I thought, alright, that's not good. I've just freed Cthulhu upon the world. So I went ahead and erased Cthulhu. He was made out of a lot of different negative entity cores, but I mainly just ignored his overall bulk and just erased the cores inside of him, and he dissipated. And then behind that was another matrix energy fence. So oftentimes your energy will guide you towards something and it'll be a trap, but behind that is an actual positive thing. So I cleared that up, and there was a positive energetic being. It was just another nature spirit. Looked like a, what do you think of, like Zeus, but positive and green. But I've seen positive energy beings. I've freed quite a lot of them. They are very, very rare. I always attack them no matter how positive they look. If they're a golden woman who's oozing love, still attack them, because 99,000 times out of 100,000 I was going to say 99,000 times out of 99,001 times, that'll just be a succubus entity. But occasionally, very rarely, there are positive beings. And one positive being that positive entity race I've seen quite a bit are these beings that look like essentially humanoid, but like us, but a crystal version of being a humanoid. I'll go more into detail later on, but I basically was like, alright, I can't figure out what's going on here. I thought it might have been a trauma wound because the pain was on my left. I thought it was a lot of things, but I thought, one thing I really thought it was a trauma wound. Essentially, with a trauma wound, if you, let's say, fall over and break your arm, that you will have normally a large black just wound there where you've damaged your arm in the past. We also, as you get energetically stronger, will have trauma wounds to deal with, and by as you get energetically stronger, I mean you're now strong enough to perceive them, damage before you even came in to this matrix. So I presume that before I come here, and I did see this, someone had just ran me through with like the spear of evil, right? This giant evil spear, and it had done a lot of damage. So I'm like, okay, it's this trauma wound that I'm experiencing, and I was working on that. And I said to this positive being, I think it's a trauma wound. I made it the intention for anything positive that I freed before just around me, show up. And quite a lot of these crystal beings showed up, nothing really else. And I said, okay, help me clear this. I think this is it. If you think it's something else, or you can figure out something else, do that. And they started working on me, and then the strongest one came to front and he held up a contract. I'm like, get out of here, I'm not signing a contract, come on. So I went to erase the entity, but he wasn't erasing. And I went to erase the contract, and it was made out of gold, and it seemed to be positive. So I went, okay, fine, here, let me read this. And I brought out my magnifying glass, and I started reading it. It was a very simple contract. It basically said, I will work on you for, it was like a lot of time of an hour, and you'll work on me for the equivalent of an hour that you can do now, but you have 3 years to do it. And I'm like, all right, let me use my magnifying glass. Let me really put on my reading glasses as well, flip it over, check the inside. I'm like, okay, I'm in a lot of pain. Fine, I'll sign shit. So I signed it, and then he started helping me. Then other beings started holding up contracts, and I said, no, all right, if you fix this, I'll help you, okay? But if I'm not just going to start signing like that, I have 30 hours of work to do on you guys. They were not able to figure out what the problem was. They didn't talk, it was just basically energy. It did help decrease the pain, but that was just because I was getting basically an overall boost. Are these crystal beings assisting humanity? The answer is no. They were assisting me because I freed a lot of them, but they're not in much of a position to. They are assisting individuals, but I'll go into that in a bit more of a detail. So yeah, Thursday I couldn't figure it out. I asked 2 other people what they saw. One of them said, "Oh, you have a massive implant," which looked like a black, basically centipede entity, but it was metallic. So think of like a black, evil, sentient metal that was causing me, it was on my body. It was causing me quite a bit of pain once I honed in on it, and I thought, okay, maybe this is it. This belonged to a very ancient entity race that I don't think is much of a problem because there's not many of them. They are quite strong. It's essentially the reptilians in the past developed some kind of android technology and built massive, just robotic bodies, basically cyborgs, and they put their head on top. So you got this tiny reptilian head on this like 20-meter tall robot body. So another new entity race I discovered, but I didn't need the basically excruciating pain to motivate me to find them. But I raced that implant and it's like down, back up, and I'm like, oh, it's not this. Someone else had a look and removed a few things that would go down and back up. So then I thought, okay, this gets significantly worse after I eat, and then it kind of gets better over time. So what I will do is I will simulate with my energy food, and that way I can stop the simulation whenever. So I simulated energy, it went down my body, down, then it got to around where my liver was, and I just saw it go, like, exploded like a grenade, and I thought, alright, something is wrong with my liver then. I found the problem. So I looked in on my liver, and I could see quite a few holes in it energetically, so I started fixing that. I had a look physically. I did check on Tuesday whether it was a physical problem. I was touching around my body, seeing if I had appendicitis, if one of my organs had ruptured. I can remote view physically and see my organs decently. And I came to the conclusion, no, it was energetic. So I started fixing my liver. I saw quite a lot of painkiller residue. When I was a teenager, I had quite a lot of pain, and I didn't know that there was a limit on painkillers until I believe I was about 14, and my mum said, "How many of those painkillers did you used to have?" She saw me take a bunch, and I said, 10. I had a lot of chest pain then, and she said, "You can't have. It says on the box you can have 2 every 6 hours." I said, "Yeah, but does it?" So I checked, and yeah, it turns out I'd given my liver quite a bit of painkiller damage. So I fully cleared up that energy, fully restored my liver, and the pain went right down. I thought, okay, good, I fixed it. Which I was quite happy about. And then on Friday, I continued clearing my liver pretty much the whole day. I was just working on it. And by about 3 p.m, even though I've been working all day, there were just holes. My liver was perfectly fine, but the actual energetic pathway where there was all that shrapnel, there would, like, where there were 4 big holes before, there were now like 25. It was worse. I thought, okay, so my liver was a problem, but it wasn't the main problem. This is really annoying. So I went down to the beach. Often, if you have an energetic problem, ocean water, the beach in general is very helpful. It's very grounding, and it will help you balance your energy a lot. So the second I walked down to the beach and I got in the water, and the pain went away, and I'm like, okay, good, this is nice. The pain's fully gone. Now I just need to figure out what it's here before I go home. So I thought, well, I'll just do a lot of energy work overall and just rattle everything, and that should fix me up. So I started doing Wim Hof in the beach. I wasn't swimming, I was just in the shore standing up. I wouldn't recommend you do that, but I've been doing it since the start of 2019, and I don't have any problems. I'm pretty in tune with my body, so I was doing that. And surprisingly, due to this energetic attack, my physical body had gotten like really weak to the point where I was doing Wim Hof and I breathed in, and I was holding it, I believe, on the 3rd set, and a wave of water hit me in the back, and it was very cold, and I spat out the air, which I'd never done before. I physically didn't have the strength to do it, and the ocean was really cold, so I thought, okay, I can't stay here. My physical body's like really ragged. I'll have to just go home and try and figure it out. Does lake water have the same effect? No, not at all. If you energetically clear and purify the lake in its positive area, it can be positive, but the beach, unless you really do a lot of evil things, it's really hard to corrupt a beach. So no, beaches are 10 times better than lakes overall. So I came home and I was absolutely freezing. As I was walking home, I was just doing a lot of clearing, and entities, normally I erase them, but I didn't have the energy. I was really running low, and a lot of things, as I'd done a lot of energy work, just being flung out of me, and as I'm walking home, I'm just seeing a lot of people's houses just, a lot of things, entities were just going into their houses. And I thought, oh man, I'm gonna have to clean up after myself once they get through this. This area I live in, it is fairly cursed. My house is not. I cleared it, but the overall neighbourhood, a lot of negative stuff here, but that's a topic for another time. I did later on go and clear that up. So I came home, I had a bath, I was in there and just trying to clear and figure it out. And then Saturday, I was getting through it. I wasn't going to just not eat because my body was already quite physically weak, and so was my mind. So I thought, no, I can't not eat. That will finish me off. The way I do my intuition now, what I used to do is I would say, I'd get the feeling of like, yes or no. I'd ask myself a question, get a pulsing here or a pulsing there. The problem with that is entities can stimulate it, or you'd have to ask multiple times just to be very sure. And you couldn't get much of an exact answer. So, and the way I do my intuition, and the way that I recommend you do your intuition, is I have my energy show me in front of my mind, in front of my eyes pretty much, a colour. This is all mental, it's not physical. A colour and a number. So the colour will be the overall good or bad, and the number 1 to 10 will be bad or good. So yellow 1 to 10 is neutral, 1 being bad, 10 being good. Then goes orange, which is not good, 1 to 10, 10 being the worst. Red, bad, do not do it, 1 to 10. Black, absolutely impossible, 1 to 10. And the worse it gets, I didn't tell my energy to do this, but it'll go black 10, and then the 10 will massively pulse, which means no, lethal, don't do that. Then the positive side, and you can do the colours however you want. You can have it go 1 to 100, 1 to 10, it's just easy. I have it go yellow, neutral, and then blue, 1 to 10. 1 being not so good, 10 being great. Green, 1 to 10, which is very good, do that. And then gold, 1 to 10, which is absolutely do this. And then the 10 will pulse is stronger, just how the black 10 does. But the gold 10 is the most positive. That's how I do that. So with my intuition, I was basically asking myself energetically, okay, can I eat this? Is this good for me energetically? I'm, being very careful here. And I used to have smoothies. I just have milk and mixed berries. And I said to my energy, I'd had a smoothie, I believe, on Tuesday, and that was really bad. And on Saturday I said, okay, should I have a smoothie? Is this a good idea? Does my body need nutrition? And it said gold 8. And I said, okay, I'll do that. So I had a smoothie, and it like the pain was still there, excruciating. You can't get worse than excruciating. And I was pretty mad with my energy. I'm like, why did you tell me to have this? And then I checked. Evidently, energetically, it was a good idea for me. I really thoroughly checked that. But I didn't. Now, when it comes to something that I'm not curious of, I'll say, energetically, is this good for me? Good for me. Pain-wise, is this good for me? And it said, pain-wise, black 2, no. So I was like, all right, well, I've already drunk it. I'm going to have to survive this. It was really bad. I got in the bath and I started. Essentially, my energy was just leaving me, and I've had near-death experiences before, but never when I've been like energetically strong. Not since after I started energetically training. And I went, this is death. This is not good. And while I was in the bath, I started seeing in my mind, but it was getting more and more clear. I saw this white open plane, and I saw these crystal beings, which I'd seen a few days before. And I thought, okay, shit, this is death. Hang on, let me check that I'm not being pulled somewhere I shouldn't be. And I was energetically attacking them. Oftentimes with false holograms, or just holograms in general, there'll be a negative energy core in the sky is normally where I see it. Often in a reptilian head or Arcturian head, whatever is targeting you. Nothing there, nothing in the ground. I'm like, okay, this seems to be positive, but I'm not really wanting to die at this moment. I'd had a client, this is why I somewhat knew what was happening. I had a client 2 weeks prior who, well, she's made a full recovery now, as far as I'm aware, who was essentially, when I worked on her, was dying. Like, and she said, I'm very at peace. I see these white mage type energy. She was seeing basically men and women in robes, and they were emitting a positive white energy. So, and I said, oh, well, that doesn't sound right. That is not, don't go with them. So I went into her wormhole and I was checking, and it did seem positive. So it looks like upon death, if you have enough energetic strength, a positive wormhole will open up, and it will basically take in your consciousness, your soul, your energy body, so you don't need to worry if you're strong enough about breaking out of the matrix. You will just go straight through there, and you'll be in a positive safe haven. The problem with that was, after I fixed her up and that became less tangible for her, and she didn't die, problem with that for me was, I'm fixing this for myself, and I couldn't figure out how to fix my problem. I hadn't been able to for a few days. I'm like, okay, well, this is death. This is really bad. So I dragged myself out of the bathtub and got upstairs and just hopped in bed and thought, all right, I'll go to sleep, and that will either, this is last ditch effort. It'll give me enough energy that I might be able to figure out what's going on. Either way, I really need sleep. I'm like absolutely exhausted. So I lay in bed and went to sleep, and I didn't remember the dream I'd had that they basically showed me around. I did recall that later on, and I will recall that for you. But I woke up and I was 80% dead. When you're basically dying, the world, this earth, becomes less and less real. It becomes, if you've been in a dream, you're like, I know this is a dream. That's how this earth felt. It's like, I know this is a dream, but I want to have I just want to up and leave, even if this world, is a matrix like all the other ones are. It's the one that I'm invested in at the moment. So I was feeling about 80% dead and thinking, okay, this is really bad. I need to figure out a way to switch this. So, and the more dead I was becoming, the more in my mind this place was looking more and more real. At that point, it looked way more real than Earth. It went from being a wide area to these beings were all over the place. They had basically crystal buildings. Energetically, you can just remote view and see through them. There's nothing blocking. I'll go more into detail about them later on. But I asked another client or friend, can you see anything that's wrong with me? I feel super dead. And she went, well, yeah, you feel dead. And she did a lot more feeling than seeing. And she said, oh, it's your repressed emotions. And I said, oh, okay, let me check. And I said, show me my repressed emotions. I cleared a lot of my repressed emotions, negative emotions, a long time ago, and just actively made sure I hadn't caught up with them. But how foolish of me to believe I'd actually fully cleared something. So I said, okay, show me the implant that's blocking what she's feeling, and I erased it, and then my whole body lit up like a Christmas tree. And I just saw essentially negative, let's just say, different negative balls of emotion that had been weaponized. So if I were to feel, let's say someone were to do something to me, I'd feel anger, but I knew it wasn't my anger. Entities were pushing that on me, and I would just clear it and try and get rid of it. But while that happened, they would essentially steal my anger energy that they had forced upon me, and then ball it up into these negative weapons. And they chosen this time, for a few reasons, but they haven't figured them all out yet. They chosen this time to basically be like, all right, let's kill this guy. So they pushed every single weaponized repressed emotion to the front and was just absolutely just hitting me with it. And that was the problem. So once I figured that out, as I mentioned before, these things had keyholes in them, so I was just jamming these energetic keys I was making, twisting them, and then clearing the energy. And finally, this excruciating pain just started going down, and it didn't go back up. It just down, down, down. I'm like, okay, I have solved it, and I didn't die. It was, I was cutting it pretty close. If this friend hadn't helped me, I might have figured it out. I do feel like I would have, but it would have been cutting it even closer. I feel like another 2 days, I would have just, my body would have been here physically, and the rest of me would have been over in this safe haven. The actual safe haven, I'll go into that in detail now. Anyway, so that is how I basically try and fix major problems when they come up for me. The goal of this video is to make sure that doesn't happen to you, because that absolutely sucked balls. That was a week of just terribleness. I am almost fully recovered from it now, but it absolutely just did a lot of damage to me. I'm just going to check on the energy now. What I'm doing, this is not the God Bubble. My energy, I've got a lot of past life stuff, a lot of other things that... Actually, I'll talk about the crystal place, then I'll go into that. But I'll have a drink first. If anyone has any questions or anything I should elaborate, let me know. So, this crystal place, essentially, I can't tell how large it is. It's quite large, at least the size of Australia, but it most likely goes on for quite a while. The crystal beings, what they look like is, okay, let's say, take me as a template, right? So they look like me, but they'd be crystally, in blue, purple, green, gold, red, you name it. And they don't have a face, it's just flat here, and they don't have ears either, it's just flat there. They don't have any genitals, they're just naked, alright? They don't have a belly button, and they don't have a bottom hole. I checked. I must have thought it was a bit weird, because yeah, I'm like, alright, I need to research this. They have no negative entities, at least in the area that I'm in. It's all very, very clear. Part of my consciousness is still there. I didn't fully come back. But this world seems much more alive, and that world seems more like just another energy world now. But in terms of technology, they have basically these crystal tablets and different holograms. They have hologram technology. There doesn't seem to be their own energy may be powering it, but there doesn't seem to be like any kind of computer or anything to power their technology. It's just like a hologram will come up, and they can type on it and use it as a computer or make a large monitor. I had a look around. There does seem to be some kind of nobility system. The more powerful beings, the royalty, the noble houses, and they have, I wouldn't say servants, but they have other people that are living with them in this large noble house and underneath them. And then there's certainly a king, but there's more than one king. There's probably a king of kings and a king of kings, but there are certainly kings. That's the feeling I get, and they're significantly stronger with energy. Once I figured out it was repressed emotion, started bringing that down, and I was there, I said, alright, well, I'm here. Can you do anything for me energetically? Can you show me anything? And then they started bringing up contracts. I said, no, stop trying to make me sign stuff. Okay? And so a few of them who were like, okay, fine, came over, and they, essentially, as I mentioned, we have these energetic fences inside of us. Basically, picture a big black negative energy ball, yellow or black lines. They do change in color, negative energy ball, and it makes this negative energetic grid, and we just have layers of this. And they cleared a layer, and out came these energetic positive rings or halos. If you've seen any kind of those shitty cultivation stories where they've got these energetic rings with abilities on them that are very detailed and intricate, that's pretty much how they are. So those started coming out, and I'd seen halos in other people before, but I didn't really think much of it. So for the past 5 weeks, I've been going through and unlocking a lot of my own halos, a lot of other people's energetic halos. I'm using halos because that's pretty much what they are. Was it a place of euphoria? I wouldn't say, I didn't feel this overwhelming bliss and it's such a lovely place, but I'm destined to go back. No, it was it was a great place, but I am invested in this world at the moment. I'm not just gonna leave a dead body here. I don't even have anything set up. For you, it would have been just, and then he didn't make any videos anymore. But it was a very good place. I wouldn't have minded staying there. It was certainly a positive place. But the energetic halos, and then I signed a few contracts. A few of the ones that were just they wanted to assist me without much of my own input. I didn't have much of a problem with. They do have animals as well, but they look just like the crystal. So they had dogs and cats, but they're not physical. Like they're not. They look like crystal people. There's no mouth or nose or things on there, and their body. There are pores, but it's like they're crystal beings essentially. Thinking anything else I should talk about this place. It is quite large. They have quite a lot of positive. By the way, I know there's going to be people who are like, oh, we'll go remote view this place right now. Okay, if you can. Maybe I didn't get here by remote viewing. I got pulled into here. But if you do, check everything. Don't just be like, oh, this looks like it. Yeah, I'll see entities disguise themselves as anything. I've seen a lot of these, entities disguised as crystal beings before. So if you do, just be very, very careful. There was a positive waterfall that had, like, a lot of this place is just crystal energy. Very good for clearing. Overall, it is a good place, and I wasn't worried about dying. I haven't had a fear of death for a long time, but I was certainly surprised because I didn't get any kind of premonition that this was happening. It's like, oh, this is death. You're dying. Figure it out, or you're going off on an extended holiday. But yeah, I made it through that. So, as I cleared my own weaponized repressed emotions, I didn't really get like, oh, I'm so sad. But the Halo integration, that I don't really cry ever. I'm pretty stoic, so I didn't have any crying. But I'd have a lot of sadness or anger come over me for about an hour. That tended to be the Halos clearing something and integrating, and then that would get better, and I'd be much stronger and it would pass. And then I'd have joy essentially and be happy for a while. Which dimension does this place exist? I'd say probably around 700s. The dimensions, they kind of just keep going up. I really couldn't say. I wouldn't worry too much about the dimensional thing, or energy density. They can just how I'm going to say just how on Earth it's hard to fly around and use your energy to do physical things, but there it's much easier. You just with intention you can fly around, you can move around, you can create technology. They don't eat whatsoever, but if they want food or they want to experience food, is more like it. What they'll do is they'll usually use their own energy to generate let's just say an orange, right? Or a tangerine tree. So they'll generate a tangerine tree, and then they'll pick a tangerine, or they can just generate it without the tree, and then they will just absorb it through their body, and then they're probably tasting it much better than we do because they feel the energy and the taste of it throughout their entire body. But yeah, that was my crappy experience. That is also another reason why I share that is it's not as if I'm lazy. I'm certainly not, right? The reason why I don't have as many healing videos or fundamentals of energy videos out at the moment is because I'm often just must figure out this energetic problem. I felt my thought I've been projecting my voice, or was that emotions? Oh, that's emotions. Okay, there goes my throat pain. Good. Yeah, as you do this, don't be surprised if pain comes up or anxiety comes up and it's like, stop. If you're hearing that, that's this entities, stop it. You're getting rid of, oftentimes, especially with this weaponized emotional energy, there's a lot of negative entities living inside of it. So, as I'm clearing this energy, I'm erasing negative entities from you as well. So yeah, you may get anxiety, fear, just, don't worry about it. Just try and relax. Oh, with these, how can you check if a contract is safe? All contracts aren't safe. It's pretty simple. Read it thoroughly. No, that's a crappy answer. Negative energy contracts, right? Pretty much all the soul contracts people have. You attack them with your energy and they erase. Or something will come up and try and block it. Or you'll fully erase. Basically, it'll take damage. But with a positive contract, you'll attack it. The energy's making contact and it's not taking damage. And it won't have written on their clauses like this can be rewritten at any time. It's pretty straightforward. Yeah, it's Morningstar. I'll answer that after I get through the main things I have planned. Next, I'm going to talk about after death. So these wormholes, most people, or yeah, I'll just call it wormholes, or portals. We'll go with wormholes for now. After death wormholes. When you get to a energetic strength, these seem to just form, or positive energetic beings form them inside of you, and then you get an out essentially. It's very rare for there to be any kind of problem with that, but I did have one client that I just checked, not just checked, 5 weeks ago, but I checked shortly after, and she had in her a wormhole and she's done a lot of energetic clearing, so it made sense for her to have one, that took her into this positive white area with Baphomet entities with wings, so the demonic entity Baphomet. I thought, alright, this is satanic heaven, this is not good. So I went ahead and erased her wormhole. So there are negative ones. So if you're dying, I mean, number one, you want to ideally check them before you die when you're strong enough. You don't need to worry about it now if you're not that. If you're strong enough to check, then it's. If you're not strong enough to check, then there's not going to be a wormhole. And if you are strong enough to check, then it's not going to be much of a problem. But check and erase it. So I erased her, so she won't be going to satanic heaven. But other than that, it's very likely for those kinds of things to be weaponized. Which is good because, you know, I was expecting when I died to Matrix fans and then just erase that, just destroy some entities, why not, and then just gigantic portal, out I go. But looks like I won't have to if I were to die now, which I'm not planning to, okay? That's not on the cards at the moment. I will simply end up here, but I'm not really worried about it. It's kind of like, you know, I'm strong enough, I get out, and then everyone else is still here. That's kind of, it's pretty selfish. Yes, I do train all the time, but I do feel that the fact I stumbled into this and was a lot of luck, right? The luck was on my side. So I do plan to stay here and, you know, help get as strong as I physically can, which will never end, and help others as well. I'm now going to talk about ghosts. So the way ghosts work, I was remote viewing through time. If you've seen the previous interview I did on this channel, I talk about how a man who was pale white and in a black suit and with a cane and a top hat was walking through the house. So I thought, okay, well, I'll remote view and find out where this guy came from and then talk about it. So what I saw, it was basically behind this like railway yard with abandoned train carts. This guy was having an argument, looked like he owed someone money. Anyway, they shot him in the head, and he had just double checking now, he had a green soul. And what happened was, I saw this basically false white light tunnel open above him. I'm looking at this from a third person. And his soul was basically taken out, along with his energy body and the rest of his energy, up and out. And then the malice, the anger, all his entities that were there, and he had a lot of malice upon death. He was very angry to be murdered. But it didn't matter. He was going through the white tunnel. He was out of here. He was taking that energy, anger energy with him. But all the negative entities and stuff he had basically came together and with his anger energy and formed a black negative main core, and then the main negative entity that won, which wasn't basically his leftover energy and consciousness, it was this top hat, or this, but it was an undead entity, but it decided to look like a old gentleman, and mostly humanoid. Like, it did a pretty good job of looking like a real person. I really thought he was a real person, but this was just a ghost, essentially. So ghosts usually are not a conscious person who is stuck here or who has started to stay here. It is usually their leftover malice and energy that has been warped and put into the form of a ghost. Now, if, let's say, an NPC dies who doesn't have a soul, so there's nothing to leave, usually either their data, let's just say, just deletes, just delete a program and they're just dead, and, you know, they don't exist anymore, or the feeling a lot of my own energy right now, especially in my back. It's very warm, it's nice. Or their anger will come together or a bit of their consciousness, if they're really, really angry, will merge, and then they'll become a ghost. But usually ghosts are not people. It's just a lot of negative entities using the energy of that they acquire from this person to become their own big entity. It's often thousands to millions, but millions, I'm talking like, teeny tiny entities. So let's say thousands of big entities, and like one boss entity who makes up the ghost. Let's talk about human ghosts. If you get, alright, let's say, I'm just thinking ghost stories I've heard. Someone has an affair with, let's say it's olden times. Someone has an affair with their boss. She gets pregnant. The boss is mad, so he just takes an axe and kills her, right? And she's furious because he's not only killed her, but he's also pretty much killed the baby that she was going to have. And she'd need to have, or he would need to have enough energetic strength to not go through the white tunnel, just basically refuse that, and then just using their own intention and energy, come back to Earth. They'd come back right to the spot where they died, and then, because they got a lot of malice, they would most likely merge with the negative entities. They wouldn't be consciously doing this. They'd just be taking all of their anger, and they would become in charge. And then they usually have a corrupted soul. So let's say they've got a blue soul. It would be blue with just 80% black throughout it. Okay, they're now evil, and unless they can find a feeding source, and most likely they're not that smart. They don't really know what's going on energetically. They can use their energy. They have so much energy that they have now physically manifested themselves into the physical world. It's much easier at night, so their boss at 2 a.m. sees this woman and she starts strangling him, right? But ghosts, they're really not that strong, even if you haven't trained. So, fights her off and just runs somewhere public, somewhere with light, etc. It will be much harder for her to follow him because there's more people, more energy. That will be a deterrent. Public places, unless the ghost has an implant on you, they're less likely to be able to follow you there, because not only are you trying really hard to manifest yourself in this area, but a lot of other people's energy, their thoughts, everything else is just flying around, which makes it much harder for the ghost to manifest. But that is what I see happening with ghosts. No, it's not a good idea to come back with a ghost. If you did come back, you would need to basically find a food source. For a lot of people, it's often their partners, they don't like their wife or husband, so they just suck him dry. He develops a very serious illness, dies, then they move on to a son or grandson, and then they can't, they might finish off their bloodline, they go to another person. That is what happens with ghosts. Now, the World War I guy I mentioned, I also checked this because I was curious. That was not a ghost, it turned out. That was a thought form. Now, a thought form, and I know I mentioned in the previous video, I'll teach how to do that, but I'm not going to teach in this one either because it takes a little bit of time. I feel like it's not the right time to teach that right now. But with thought forms, basically this, there was a child, he was, I'd say, 12, and he was in France during World War I, and he would have seen these World War I people in full leather outfits and gas masks on, and his brother, who was, I believe, 14, was basically mean to him, and his mum was being mean to him, and he got really, really angry, and he used all of his energy and intention, and he pictured one of these, basically a World War I guy in full leather outfit with a gas mask on, strangling his brother. Now, he wasn't really, at that moment, he wasn't strong enough to create anything like what I had to deal with, but he did manage to create a thought form. And this thought form did cling on to his brother, and then as he got stronger, it attached a cord to his mum, and then as it got stronger, it attached cords to everything else, and it gradually grew in power. And then, as the years go by, it just kept, feeding and feeding off people. And then it goes and attacks me what year was that, 2011, and then a few years later I kill it, and that's the end of its life forms. Our imaginary friends' thought forms. Yes, they can be. I wouldn't say entirely. A thought form is when you pretty much imagine something And unless you're very energetically strong, that's not a problem. But if you imagine it and you really, really like use your energy to create it, or you just have a lot of just negative emotions and a lot of, just negative intention. But creating a thought form, it's pretty hard to do accidentally. You don't really need to worry about it. Unless you say been energy training for a year or so. In which case you could accidentally do it, but then you just have to make sure to clear it. Oh, I forgot to mention this at the start. With this healing video, as I mentioned, it's a pillar of energy. Basically, the longer you put it out, the more dispersed the energy will be, and it will affect positive people around you. And the closer you bring it, the more... This isn't... By the way, you don't worry about being selfish here. Once you bring it in, so let's say you bring it all the way in and you can fully close it, and it's even if you've got fully closed, you're still a massive energy pillar, and you're still affecting your surroundings a lot, which is in a very positive way. Don't worry about like, oh no, I put this on and my teacher started crying. That's not going to happen. It's throttled, so they'll just gradually improve, unless they need like a like a whack to really get them out, like they've just been divorced or something and they were going to off themselves, something like that. Do you watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? I do, Hyro. Can humans have sands? Yes they can. I mean, not like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Well, the answer is yes, like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but that's not the optimal way of using energy. But when I first practiced just creating energy, I pictured stands from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and other characters and items just to practice manifesting energy into the physical and using that as a basically weight training exercise. So the answer is yes, humans could have stands, but you'd need a lot of energy. But it is certainly possible, but you'd certainly have to train for a few years in order to get to that point. Can we create positive thought forms? Yes, we can, but I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. Anyway, so yeah, you will become a large positive pillar. Well, I'd say this will last for 3 days fully. The more you play it, the longer the duration will last. Yes, you can really have this on all the time. It's not a problem. What will happen is, so let's say you fully bring it in, it will remember. If you replay the video, it will remember basically what you had it on before. But let's say you've played it and you've got it's almost like 5 go round. It will gradually begin to loosen if you can't handle it, and then let's say you come back a week from now, it'll go back to what you had set it before. Okay, good. If anyone, I've covered the main topic that I wanted to make sure I did. No, karmic connection isn't really real. Reincarnating with people, that's not really much of a problem either. It can be if they do like a negative curse or negative chord intentionally, but overall no. Karma, I see karma as, the way I see it is basically an overlay of yourself. It's a negative thing. The more you believe in it, the more it will affect you. I don't believe in it at all, and I probably haven't erased absolutely everything to do with karma, but I've erased a lot of karmic overlays and other negative karmic things. It doesn't seem to have a positive aspect unless you're really working with false spotlight entities who will help you for the short term. They may help you for the short term. They're not going to for the long term. But for the short term, they'll help you. But overall, no, karma does not have a positive aspect. It's simply another control mechanism. So, this is a very good question from Miyuki, which is Gaia positive? And the answer is, I'll be careful how I answer this. The answer is no, because, so if I say show me Gaia, what I don't see the Earth, I don't see nature's energy. I see this big black negative core of a planet, a lot of false white light energy around there. I'll just back up from that now. That's what I see Gaia as. So when you connect to nature or Earth, that's Earth, right? But when you connect to Gaia, that's basically this new age bullshit trap they put up. Perhaps Gaia, the concept of it was originally positive, but it's certainly not anymore. Yeah, with this one, Thais, the burning, the different sensations you are having may be quite strong, but I've set this up that it's not going to be anything you certainly can't handle. And like right now, I'm feeling a lot of warmth in my body, especially my legs, chest, back. Feel free to write out what you're feeling right now too, especially right if you're having any kind of emotional response. I'm curious about that, because when I did this, I mean, I'm not much of an emotional guy to begin with, but freeing all these repressed emotions, or weaponized emotions, to be more precise, I didn't have like much of an emotional outburst. It was just pain leaving, feeling much more relaxed, much more free of anxiety. I noticed a milestone I've hit back, I think, a year and a half ago. I had to go to the court office and have something notarized or signed, and I remember having such anxiety. Number one, court houses tend to have a lot of negative energy. Of course, it's that you're not gonna people being sentenced for a lot of crimes. I don't know why I'm explaining what a courthouse is, but a lot of very negative energy there. So I was feeling a lot of anxiety, and to the point where I'm like, did I spell my name wrong? Oh no, this guy. And I was seeing something called a justice of peace. Basically, an old person will volunteer to notarize stuff for you. And I'm like, oh no, did I spell my name wrong? Like, all this anxiety energy. And I had to go a few days ago to have something notarized, and I didn't feel any anxiety at all. Like, I was making jokes with him. He wasn't really making jokes with me, but there was no anxiety. Like, I wasn't worried I spelt my name wrong. Overall, I was having a pretty good time. And that's always nice when you see the results, because oftentimes day to day you may not feel like you're getting that many results, but overall you just feel a lot of anxiety. Even in my dreams, I used to have a lot of theme park dreams for some reason, a lot of like animatronics that were absolutely terrifying. Last night I had a dream, someone tricked me into getting onto this ride, and there were a lot of terrifying animatronics, but I didn't feel any kind, and I had this ride in a past dream before, although I think I was smart enough to not get on it, didn't get tricked, but there was no fear. Even my dream self was like relaxed and like, oh yeah, it's a ride, right? Even though a lot of my dreams rides break, I'm energetically strong in my dreams. I wasn't really worried about anything bad happening to me. Another good question from Miyuki. Is the original Mother Earth also a virtual reality? And the answer is, I believe that this nature energy is not it's certainly inherent to this world. This world is very positive, nature energy. But overall, there'd be a much bigger, much more positive matrix that's not corrupted. That would be where a lot of this comes from. But overall, the concept of Mother Earth, that's New Agey, that's not real. But when I was, I'll elaborate on that. People are going to give me shit for that. Basically, Mother Earth, if you want to connect to that, what you're going to get is you're going to get this alien who looks like a green woman with antlers, with like, and you may see her cloaking, which looks positive, with like a green ball, basically tentacle that comes down, and yellow and green and red ball sacks there filled with a lot of negative energy and entities. That's what Mother Earth is, alright? That's the alien race that's masquerading as that. But the positive energy beings I was seeing yesterday, they basically women and men who were clothed, they had like Greek clothing on for some reason. I don't communicate with entities ever. A lot of that's just telepathy. I steer clear from that, and I'm also I don't care that much. But it's not that I don't care. It's that I choose to allocate my time to more important things, things that I deem more important. But anyway, that's how I see positive nature beings. But the idea of Mother Earth, no. If you make a connection for nature, any positive nature beings, fine. I wouldn't even recommend you try and connect to any beings. Well, I don't ever do that unless I got my shit like really kicked in. But just work on yourself. Nature's energy is good. Your own positive energy is good. This video's energy, you can feel free to use it whenever you want. It will do a lot of clearing. Yeah, I think a lot of people will be surprised. This will have a lot of really long-term benefits. Because I presumed I cleared all my emotional energy, but just like everything else, this just goes down and down. It just keeps going. So yeah, just take it easy. Yes, what you will notice is you'll probably start with burning. You may even start with burning it like pretty bad, and then it will gradually get better and better and better. and you'll find yourself having real life changes. Like, you'll begin to speak up for yourself more. You won't get pushed around. Your boss, who just being in her presence, you get this stomach pain, no longer a problem. That emotional energy's gone. Yeah, she's mean to you, but you're like, and like, you, rather than getting like and feeling like you're being hit by her, you'll just get and it won't be a problem. It won't stick. In order to clear your own emotional energy, you will just say, well, you make the intention to see your own emotions. You can just say, show me my own emotions. If nothing's showing up, say, show me anything blocking seeing negative emotions. Clear the blocks, usually around the eyes, or on the nerves to the eyes. Also, could also be in the brain. That's mainly where those blocks would be. Erase the implants or whatever you're seeing blocking you, and then you'd see your different emotional energy. Go ahead and clear it. You say, oh, but maybe this is good. No. If you're seeing it as good, still attack it, okay? This gold, positive, happy energy may turn out to be clown energy, and it's manic, which is bad. You don't want to be manic, although being manic's better than being depressed, but not by much. I don't know much of a, experience with manicness anyway, but know that if it's showing up, and just clear it, okay? Your energy, it most likely wouldn't even show you unless you really specify to see positive emotions that are on you. You just see negative emotions that you need to clear. You could also say, show me my aura. This is another way to do it. Or show me the aura of someone else. And then show me the negative energy cause most affecting their aura. And then you'd see this big octopus monster made out of red negative anger energy. Oftentimes, entities will take your negative energy, and one will go into it and basically take control over it, and it will become just something much bigger. So I've had a lot of black dragon, which was like grief energy, sadness energy. So I had these giant black dragons and hydras that I've cleared a lot. Another question that I'm going to answer, because even though I did answer this before, a lot of people are emailing it to me. So when I keep seeing repeated numbers, and this is from Miyuki as well, such as 1111, 5555, 7777, what is going on? And the answer is, well, that's called angel numbers. They're bad. I'm going to have a look into it right now and try and get a good grasp of what's going on. Yeah, this really wasn't a problem for me. I did have angelic stuff, but my main problem was just demonic and purgatory stuff. And aliens, a lot of alien stuff. What I'm seeing, so I'm just using someone, not sure, a random person from the chat as my template. I'm seeing implant, basically a box of false white light energy that's shooting these numbers, and then they have a series of boxes around, and it's using your energy to propel them all around you, build up energy, and then shoot it out into reality. And that seems to be what's causing that. And then these boxes also, when it detects these numbers, especially once I haven't set up, it just like vibrates and rings. That's what's going on there. I'll just see if I can. I'll talk in detail about how I'm doing my healing energy now. So with my halos, I have a lot of my energy. It's in like gold runes. It's not in English, but when I focus on it, I can read it. And I've pretty much set up this magic circle that's emanating from me, and it's also being copied into everyone's pillar, so it's emanating from you now as well. And I just go in, and with my intention, these runes form for the different things, so I'll add that on there. So this should get rid of angel numbers. Good. It looks like it's also, the Archangel entities were in charge of this. Archangel entities look like yellow squid entities. Just think of Squidward from SpongeBob, but if you type in realistic Squidward, okay, but make him yellow. That's an Archangel entity. Now, they may look like, when you see them, when you first start getting good at seeing stuff, they may look like beings with 8 wings and a white and gold armor with a, positive face and etc. But that's not what they look like. Okay, you attack them, they transform into squid monsters. They may not transform into squid monsters. They may be like, "Why are you attacking me? I'm your guardian angel." They're not your guardian angels. Okay, if they're getting erased by your energy or my energy, they're not there to help you. I remember a conversation I had, and I think this is important to talk about. I had a friend who, he was like, "Why is everything you see always negative?" Right? Like, I'd view him and like, you got snakes, you got reptilians, you got monkeys. And he's like, what about my guardian angels? And he'd recently been admitted to the hospital because he collapsed. I'm like, you just got admitted to the hospital. These entities are like wrecking you, okay? They're doing you a lot of damage. If your angels are around, why aren't they helping you? And he's like, oh, well, it's got to be for my hospital. I'm like, it's not, okay? Our theory that I think we both had was perhaps they were helping him and the targeting would have gone from, like, let's say 9 to a 10. But no, in reality, these angel entities were just... we mentioned Judges Without Adventure. If you've seen the part where two of them are kicking a guy and the third guy looks over and he's supposed to be the brains of the group and he just starts kicking the guy on the ground as well. That's what the angel entities are. They go, should I join in? Yeah, I'll join in. Then they come over and they stomp on your head too. That's what's going on. They're just another negative entity race that goes, yeah, let's kick this guy while he's down. Why not? So, no, it's not that I'm seeing negative things. It's that this matrix is bloody negative. If I remote view my own neighborhood, for example, I just see big black wall around everybody's houses. Just, there's a lot going on here. But this positive crystal area, I could just, it's probably not a good thing to do, but just go through the houses, look around. There was no problem. But here it's just negative wall, negative wall, negative wall. It's just a really negative area. There's just so many demonic and satanic portals everywhere. Angela just said that she had angel numbers that helped bring her a lot of money. Well, that's very good. What I'm seeing with angel numbers is they aren't positive. It could be that there is a... I'm just checking now. It looks like on one of my halos I'm seeing there is a positive number thing to do with it. The angel numbers are taking the concept of something positive, it looks like, and making it very, very negative. That's what I'm seeing there. So there could be positive numbers, but if they're positive, they'd be much more rare, I'd say. They wouldn't just be getting spammed at you and overall a big problem. If anyone has any questions related to emotional energy, anything I might have missed, ghosts, afterlife, undead, feel free to help. Yeah, they weren't angel numbers. No, they definitely weren't. They were just pure evil numbers, yeah. In general, if anything's got the term angel attached to it, sacred geometry, sacred yada yada yada, that's bad. Shirley says her back has been hurting more recently. Well, unless you did something physically, then yes, it's most likely an energetic problem. And it could be that your energy is clearing things and you're feeling it more in the physical. Or it could be that, yeah, you've just got more targeting going on. Please explain. Okay. I'll explain in detail about twin flames. I was ignoring that because I've done this before. Twin flames, what it is negative entities will take a part of someone's soul. And someone may do this consciously, especially if they're false white light and a light worker. Jeez. Then they'll take a part of someone's soul and they'll basically go into your soul energy and attach it on. And this causes personality hijacking. This causes you a lot of problems. That is twin flame stuff. To clear it, you'd remote view your own soul, find their part of the part of their soul. You'd clear it up from the negative entities, and then, well, you can be nice and just put it back into their soul, or you can not be nice and go and be like, all right, let's just go put this somewhere that is, they're not going to know it came from me, and their energy's going to freak out over what just happened. Put it somewhere like Mecca, the Vatican, a big religious place where this is just going to get downloaded. Mecca's a really good place, just downloaded with like a whole lot of Islamic stuff, and then send it back, and they'll be like, what? Where did all these Islamic entities come from? Why am I hearing Arabic? That's what I do with the twin flame stuff. Does that answer your question, Morningstar? I did talk about it in more detail, I believe, in my first live stream. Are there true twin flames? No, I've never seen any kind of positive twin flame stuff. No, any kind of soulmate thing. Yes, you can have positive relationships with other people. I do believe that, but not twin flame stuff. You should be individuals. Did somebody just delete all of Angela's? Is one of my mods going rogue? What just happened? Okay, or she's deleting her messages. One of the two. Tell me if one of my mods is going rogue. I'm gonna. That's gonna be a problem. Are the light workers doing soul stealing? Well, not doing soul stealing, twin flame stuff. They can be doing it consciously if they're quite corrupted and evil, yes. I'm going to talk about corruption in a future live stream because that's I'd say a topic I need to cover in detail, so I won't talk about that now. But in general, if someone calls himself a light worker, that's a big red flag. What about soul recognitions? Can you rephrase what you mean by soul recognitions? I don't know what that means. Any other questions I have? I think there are true twin flames. No, I truly do not think there are true twin flames. I've seen, well, it's not common, but it's always absolutely revolting when I see true twin flame stuff. Not true twin flame. Whenever I see twin flame stuff, it's absolutely revolting. I don't see that as having any kind of positive aspect whatsoever. Does those who have dragonification have a soul contract for that which is hidden? Yeah, so let's... That's another thing I'll talk about in another one, transhumanism. But yes, if you have dragonification, you most likely have a dragon soul contract that has allowed dragon entities to target you from a much earlier age, and that is why you have dragonification as opposed to something else. Soul recognitions, that's what you mean. For anyone who's listening to this as audio, as in past life remembrance, as in when you look at someone and they seem familiar. Yes, we do tend to get soul recognition when you have seen someone who you've had in a past life. There can be a click, and you may, depending on how open you are and what's going on energetically, you can be like, oh yeah, I know this person. You may get a brief vision, or oftentimes you won't get that. You'll just get a feeling that you can trust this person and that you've known them for years when you really haven't. So... well, you haven't in this physical life, but you have. So soul recognition is real, but the idea of you being bound to other people is very rare. I haven't seen it positive, simply because the amount of energy you need to do a positive connection to keep you reincarnating, you may as well just leave the Matrix, because you can leave it 10 times over with that energy. But I have seen negative ones. I don't know what a sanguine vampire is. I'm guessing that's a type of vampire. Can you elaborate on that? Another good question is from Pop's Health Club. How do I overcome fear felt when remote viewing? With remote viewing, I had to think about this because I didn't feel fear. I'd been just beat up by entities my whole life, so I was like used to it. So I'm like, aha, I can see them now inside of me and I can fight back and die. That was how I felt. But I do understand. So let's say you go inside of yourself and you feel fear. Know that that's not your fear. These entities are feeling the fear that you are going to get rid of them, right? So they're like, oh, you're feeling their fear that's ingrained in you. So let's say you view into your realm, you see a low-level entity realm, like a monkey entity realm. They're pretty low level. You just see monkeys, and you start feeling fear. Okay, create a gold sword in your hand, and then just cut through them. Now, these are basically video game monsters. You need to keep cutting them until they're fully erased. So, keep cutting through them, find their negative energy core, or if they're just beating, don't worry about that. Just cut through them until they're gone, like video game monsters. So, 1, 2, 3, they're dead, right? Now, if something hits you, like the monkey comes up and punches you right in the face, you're not going to feel like you got punched in the face. You're just going to see a mental image of you go and fall back. You may need to use your energy to restore damage, but you're on a low-level entity realm. They're not doing any damage to you. So, go ahead, get punched, fine. You may have like 1,000 monkeys pile on you. Just use your sword, cut through them. The answer is just gradually build up confidence. Know that you can't lose. I've never lost an entity fight for something that I can see. If you can see him, you can erase him. Now, it may take a while. Like you may be fighting something for an hour. It's unlikely that will happen. Most likely, if it's inside of you and you're seeing it, 5-10 minutes max, just keep cutting through until it's erased. The fear is not yours. Nothing bad can happen to you. These things are inside of you. They were already a problem. If you have, let's say he had the question about succubus entities in the physical. If you have problems with entities in your physical location, then you would remote view your physical... Jeez, Ernest, why do you have so much... Ernest is a regular client. Why do you have so much Jesus energy around you? What happened here? Can your soul energy be taken and given to someone else? other people can't really use your soul energy. Negative people can, but it has to be corrupted, but usually negative entities take it. I've never seen a person who's been stealing other people's soul energy that's been using it for themselves. It's usually just negative entities. I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? Oh, confidence. If you're viewing your physical location and you're seeing these things, they were already there. So let's say I got to view my physical location. My room's in great shape right now, but let's say it was in bad shape and I view it and there's a minotaur and there's a succubus entity and there's an incubus sitting on the foot of my bed. These things are already here. So, take your sword and just start cutting them up. Now, they may start freaking out. They may charge you. What you'll notice is that if you hit them with your sword and it just cuts through them and they start charging you and they're like, pulling your hair out and they're not going to be able to physically do you any damage, all right? But energetically, it's annoying. You're feeling something being pulled on your hair. You may need a change of tactics. Just create a large hammer and just hit them really hard and it'll splat against the wall, and then just keep hammering it. What I'll often do, as you get better, I'll seal entities. So essentially I'll take my energy, push up, push down, and the entity gets smushed in the middle, and then as I got better I'd make it that it would block off their abilities, and then it just smush, splat, and then it's dead. So that is basically just with practice. You'll build up confidence, know that it's not your fear, and don't quit. If you do feel a lot of fear, put on this healing video in particular. It's good for emotions, it's really good for fear. And you'll feel so let's say fear, I'm feeling less, and then less, and you won't have a problem. The reason why I decided to go live now, by the way, is my energy. As I said, I was doing gold 10, yada yada, so I was going through the times, and it was like, do 4 p.m. Sunday. Like, alright, I'll do 4 p.m. Sunday. I am aware that people have different time zones. US people probably aren't going to see this, and European people most likely will, but they'll have to get up somewhat early. But that's not too bad. These will be up, but for a while. But the most optimal time I was getting was this time, and that's why I'm doing it now. So, do we have 12 spiritual bodies in all 12 dimensions? No. What we have is an energy body that can be attacked in the different dimensions. Rather than having 12 different energy bodies, we just have one, but you can get attacked from the different dimensions. That's what I see going on with that. And there's a lot more than 12 dimensions, but I just say 12 to keep it simple. As you get stronger, you can perceive more. It's just as you go along. I'm not even feeling like I need to describe it, because once you get there, it just makes sense. Are there switches or dials where we can turn down fear and maybe switch on confidence? The answer is, as you clear, yes. You using the God Bubble technique or the Origin Hand, just picture that with the Origin Hand. Let's do that. Picture it. Give it the intention to increase your confidence and decrease your fear, and that should work quite well. Is Sintimani and Moldavite stones good or bad? What does I don't know what a Sintimani even is. Never heard of it. If the Lightworkers are promoting it, yeah, that's not good. Moldavite, if you clear and charge it, it can be good, yes. Just like any crystal, but I'd recommend definitely don't start with Moldavite. Start with the Selenite, and once you're really, I'd say, once you've done a really good job of keeping that clear, but yeah, I wouldn't really recommend Moldavite. I recommend train your own energy. Just work with your own energy. Try not to rely on anything else. Yeah, destroying entities in dreams can be harder because you're not fully conscious, but doing it awake can be quite a lot easier. How many dimensions do you have? Do you know? It's there's a lot. Okay, don't worry about the dimensional thing. I have one last question from Paula, and anyone else feel free to ask questions here. How can we know if discarnates are living in our energy field and can we clear them? By discarnates, she basically means ghosts. So let's say you've got a nasty neighbor. He drinks himself to death, and he goes, you know what, I don't want to leave. Or let's say he's an NPC, or he can even be sold. His soul leaves, but the negative entities, using his emotions, whatever, go, all right, we're not going to leave. They take on the form of this big, fat, ogre-type humanoid, and then, or they may even just be a human with, I see these entities quite a lot. They've got like a giant stomach, a lot of boils and pustules over them, and Then he goes, all right, I'm just going to hop into your energy. It's not shielded. In I go, feeding off your energy. To get rid of this guy, as you're remote viewing, you basically just find him. That kind of entity is normally just... He may be belligerent, but just start erasing him and get rid of him. Just like any other negative entity, that's how you get rid of a ghost from your own energy. When I'm... Okay, Miyuki asks, when I'm on the phone, playing your healing videos, does that person on the other end receive benefits? The answer is yes. Basically, so with this healing video, you are a large pillar of positive energy. That pillar is moving through space, and it's in the present time. It's not going to the past. It is going to go into the future with you, but it's present. Because you're talking to this person, you're making an energetic connection with them. So this energy would come through you, and they would essentially... It would go through there, and it would work on an area around them as well. You'd make a spatial connection. So the answer is yes. So that's it for the questions I had written down. I've covered everything. I believe there was a question at the top by Adam Southide. So after talking with someone yesterday who has had 2 of the okay, right. I'm gonna try and do another healing video next week for this, because it's a major thing. I won't talk about this now, but the answer is yes. I will clear that up. I'll do a healing video for that, so long as nothing major happens to me, which I won't. Okay, it's clear sailing from here on out. I'm going to do one next time for that, because quite a few people have had that problem. If anyone else has any questions, feel free to ask them. If you asked it earlier and I didn't get to it, just ask it now. With this energy, you can feel into it and make the intention, like, I want this to go deeper or target a specific area. So you can say, for example, what I do is you can picture, once you've got this pillar, just picture it expanding in a part of your body. It can even be horizontal, or just say, I want this to focus on my heart, I want this to focus on my chest, or I want this to go deeper. Let's say, for example, a lot of people have stomach issues with energy, just how, with weaponized energy with me, the main thing they try to do was kill me through my stomach, or small intestine. That was where it was physically at. So if you want that, you would just say, focus on there. You can even just take your hand and just do that kind of motion over a particular body part, and the energy will originate from there. If you are really getting messed up, you could probably even put on a few of these in different tabs, and you could do one here over the stomach, one here over your heart, one here over your brain, wherever it needs to be. You can basically focus this energy wherever you want. It's not a problem. Yeah, for me, I feel just significantly lighter. I feel a lot coming up on my chest now, which will gradually pass. Know that this energy, as I mentioned before, will continue to process and integrate with you a while after you've watched the video. The time may vary depending on how targeted you are, but you'll certainly feel what's going on. Yeah, I feel a lot lighter, a lot's coming up on my chest. My brain feels much more like open and spacious. My mouth in particular. It feels like before something came up on the roof of my mouth, it was heavy, and now the roof of my mouth is very light. Overall, I just feel much lighter. Let me know what you're feeling. Let me know if you're feeling any kind of emotional reaction, by the way, because I can feel like tears. I occasionally get that when I do energy clearing. And it happened much more regularly when I first started energy training, but occasionally I'll have like tears come into my eyes. That's good. That's energy being released from your body. Oh, you may feel from this like almost a vomiting feeling, not physically, but like energetically vomiting. That's good. A lot of energy comes out vomiting. You may feel it coming out the other end as well. That's all good. You don't need to worry about that. It's working very well if you're feeling that. Now you may say, oh, but I thought you were erasing this, not, throwing it out for me. And the answer is yes. what will happen is, as I erase it, a lot of this stuff will lose traction and it will come out. Once it's out of you, negative emotional energy, it's not going to find another host. It will just gradually dissipate. It won't be a problem. So that will happen. And also, even if I erase a major thing, let's say you had a major, like you know, something major happened in your life. For example, let's say your dad was just really violent, okay? He hit you a lot as a child, and it's like, you're 8 years old. You know, your dad says, did you do this? And you say, no. And he says, yes, you did. Or, no, let's say you say yes, and then he hits you. It's like, what? You're 8 years old. You're not going to beat your dad in a fight. So later on, he says, do this, and you say no. And he goes, oh, right. And he, you know, you do that as a defense mechanism. But you can't defend yourself from that. So yeah, you end up with a lot of repressed energy, a lot of anger, a lot of sadness, having to putting up with the abuse. So as I'm clearing that with this healing video, you may have that memory come to your mind, and you're like, gosh, it may make you mad. That's fine. Don't act on the emotion. Just let it get out of your system as that gradually clears itself out. Know that this isn't going to be permanent. Like, oh no, I watched this guy's healing video and I've been angry for 3 hours. He's ruined me. I'm angry forever. You're not going to be angry forever. It will pass, and you will feel so much better in the long term. Once it's out, it's out. Oh, so I forgot what. Yeah, so if you have something made like that and it's erasing, you may feel, you know, quite a bit of pain there. That's normal. You may feel emotional stuff come up. It won't be anything that you won't be able to handle. Know that. You'll be able to handle this, no problem. For the pillar energy, no, you are the pillar. The pillar is you. You are inside of the pillar. So the core of the pillar, what I've done is your soul area here, magic circle, lots of runes, and then a few circles around there. And then from there, so it's over your soul area. And then pillar comes around there. This will be compatible with future healing videos I do. It'll either, I have to figure that out. Probably the next one will make stomach. But it will be compatible, so you'll just end up with more healing stuff. So you can play them at the same time as you get energetically stronger and can basically use more energy. No, don't be angry with me forever. No, I have emails like that. It's like after the energy session, you know, I've had stomach pain for 2 days, and I'm like, yeah, well, is it getting better? Yes. It's like, okay, then it will pass, all right? Sometimes it's a purge, and it does suck, but it happens once, and then that energy's gone, and, you know, you're fixed. It may even bring on a headache, but that headache will pass. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Miyuki, I had that question written down, and it's evidently I forgot to write it on today's questions. So Miyuki says, when remote viewing someone, her face starts to move automatically depending on each person. So you are energetically sensitive to feeling other people's basically energetic state. So, and especially emotional state. So if someone, as she said, is in a good mood, her face will automatically feel their energy. And if they're in a bad mood, her face will, you know, basically do that. That is your, I'd say, soul. You certainly need to do a lot more grounding, but that is your soul just reacting, and your physical body is sensing the other person's emotional energy. That's what's going on there. For me, if I remote view someone and they're in a good mood, you know, I feel like they're having joy, but I don't really feel it on me. And if they're in a really bad mood, I feel like, oh, that person's bad, but I don't have the expression. But different people will change, and as you get stronger, that won't be much of a problem. For now, I'd say you're just overly sensitive. What you could do is say, show me my program lever for this in particular, this sensitivity, and then picture it. It'll be a negative lever, of course. Erase the skeletal head or whatever head you see, and then once create a positive lever, gradually drag it down, clearing the track as you go, and then shield that lever so that won't be a problem. That's how you could do that, and that technique works for a lot of other things too. So write that down. Is there a difference between soul and spirit? No, I don't. No, there is. Your soul is your soul. It's your consciousness. There's an energy body and crystal body and things like that. But overall, your soul is your consciousness. It's who you are. It's good. We're at 1:38, so I'll go for a bit longer. I'm just thinking if I have any other questions I should talk about. Yes, so what I'm going to do now is I should be able to keep myself in a good enough state. I'm going to try and make a healing video every week or every second week. I'm going to try and do it. If I'm not up to it, I'm not up to it. But, because there are a few major things I want to do. I'm going to do one for personal shielding, I'm going to do one for house shielding, I'm going to do one for something which I'll talk about next time. And then I'll see what other ideas I come up with, because I feel that's very beneficial. Because yes, I can teach shielding, but if a lot of it just shielding, yes, you know the technique, but so much of it just relies on energetic strength, which is why I'm definitely going to make one that will just shield people, because it'll give you a lot more breathing room. Does it go shop as a light grey mist? Negative entities, if you're seeing them, especially physically, they cloak themselves as mist and static. So the answer is yes. Do all humans have souls? I answered that in the previous one, so I won't go there again. We'll go down that hole. I talked about the shadow self in the first live stream, Morningstar, and in quite a bit of detail as well there too. I don't know why I keep stretching. It's like an emotional thing. It's like, oh no, I'm too relaxed. I'm almost ready for a nap. That's how relaxed I am. Yeah, no, I'll stop stretching. I'll just check, I'll get the exact specifications. So this healing pillar, max it can do is 10 kilometers if you really spread it out. It will only, as I said, only people who actually need it and it'll work on, and who want it will get it. Now you may say, oh well, I don't know if we should surprise people. And the answer is, well, these negative entities have been hoarding your negative emotions and actively using them to work against you for such a long time that, you know, if they don't need permission to hit someone over the head with a baseball bat, I don't need permission to remove the baseball bat that's lodged in their brain. That's how I view it. Basically, and the more condensed you have it, the more to work on you. Now you could do you can do 2 tabs, you can do one that's condensed and one that's fully out. It's up to you. You know, feel into it, use your own intuition, feel free to play around with it. You can't go wrong with this, right? You're not gonna mess yourself up. If you try and put on 30 tabs and your energy can't handle it, you'll just feel sleepy, and it will mitigate the amount of energy. You're not gonna, you know, just you're not gonna massively overdo it. Okay, so don't stress about that. Yeah. One thing you people most likely notice, less jaw tension. A lot of stress gets stored in the jaw. Less heart pain. Heart pain gets go away. Just overall lighter heart, lighter stomach. Overall, a physically lighter body, but more dense. So you'll feel less pain if something hits you, and more put together, more, you know, strong and physically there. That's how I have certainly felt from this, and that's how you know, I think you should as well. If you have someone from your family change into an entity, how can you help to free them from this possession? The answer is it's pretty hard to free someone else from possession. Even for me, I mean, I can do it, but they need to. Oftentimes, if they're possessed, they're an alcoholic, or they've got some major vice that's just absolutely, you know, they ended up in the state normally for a reason. That is partly their fault. So they would need to make some changes themselves. The healing videos, this would help with overall energetic problems with them. But I'd say just focus on yourself, build up strength. I can't even read your name, by the way. It's like some weird symbols. Or a different language. Oh, it's Korean. Okay. Yeah, it's not a weird language. I can't read Korean though. But if his message it's disappeared from the chat, that was, oh no, there it is. Okay. Yeah, you're very welcome. I will most likely try and do these around this time. I feel this is the most optimal time for, I'd say, the chat and overall energy. Yeah, so I'll try and do it again next week, same day, same time. Oh, it's in Hebrew. Okay, it's not Korean. It looked like a very small version of Korean. I'm just checking if there's anything in particular I should check or make sure. This will really help dislodge your energy system. Your energy will flow much more freely because weaponized emotions in particular are designed to cram up your energy system and make it that when you're trying to do anything, you just feel annoyed, you feel like you're making things up. That will leave out of your system, and your energy system in particular will feel much more expansive. It's good. I've answered every question. For anyone who has questions, write them in the comment section of this YouTube video, and I will I'll try and do it at the same time. And I will, if they're good questions, answer them in the next one, okay? Because now I'm out of questions, and I can ad-lib. I'm pretty good at ad-libbing, but I don't like having like a lot of dead space. More into the. I'll see what my energy says. All right. In regards to next week, maybe I'll do it earlier. We'll see. I'll try and schedule it a few days ahead anyway, so people have some notice. I'll just explain what I'm feeling. I'm feeling a lot of like rattling bones that are like a key goes in, turns, and then they like rattle and dislodge, and then are falling out of me, especially out of my left jaw. I'm feeling that a lot. You'll often feel energy reactions from your overall energy. You may feel you're like. For me, I used to have my left arm flail when I did energy work. It doesn't happen now. I'm past that, fortunately. But if you have that, you're like, oh no, my arm's possessed. Your arm's not possessed. It may be. No, it's not possessed. What's happening is that you have a lot of negative energy in your left arm, or say your chest, or somewhere that's really fighting. Just relax. If it's moving around, it's not a problem. So I wouldn't worry about that. Whatever feelings you're having, don't worry about it. Just relax through them. No, I wouldn't say most of our attacks are weaponized emotions, but it is a pretty major way they attack us. Synchronized events can be coordinated by entities, but it takes a lot of energy. It's pretty rare that they do that. The comment section isn't available for this video. I will check that once this is ended and make sure it is available. I think, what I'm going to do, I can design stuff and it will change for the video. If you play one tab, it'll do your chest, and then if you play more, it'll just put healing circles in different parts of your body. And the more you play, they'll increase in quality, but decrease in size, so more can fit on. If you're someone who plays a lot of tabs. My left jaw is, it does feel really loose. Now I just have to fix my right jaw. You may also feel, like, one thing I'm getting right now is my ears are like expanding on their own. That's good. My jaw cracked, but it felt like a healthy, like, relaxation. Yeah, we carry a lot of energy in our jaw. Yeah, no, it's not, like, one reason I wasn't planning on going with them, that wasn't even on the table, but I'm like, I have too much, like, stuff I need to do here, alright? There's, I'd say one of my main motivations for trying to not die was justice and revenge, right? There's a lot of negative entities who messed with me that I haven't killed, most likely, from a child, when I was a child. So I've got to kill them. Revenge is a pretty good motivator, so long as you're getting revenge against evil things. And overall, I do want to make a big change. If I just left a body here, I've changed a little bit, but I can do a lot more. That's how I feel. Especially long term, just massive change. That's the goal. Will reptilian entities talk to you? I mean, they can. I don't bother talking to entities. Just erase them. They'll tell you whatever they want. They'll say you're going to hell, you're going to heaven, you're going to purgatory. Just erase them, ignore them. Pretty much with any entities. Just ignore them. Yeah, no, I'm planning to be here for a while, alright? At least till I'm, I'd say young 200s, I'm going to be here. It's good. Yeah, I'll go till 152. I feel like that's an optimal time period. feeling like a lot of sweat. For some reason, my energy was like, do it on the hottest day in Australia. It was cold yesterday. Today it's super hot. But I also feel like a lot of warmth from my own energy, which is very good. Well, Steve, most likely, so let's say you have a bulk of entities, right? And as you get stronger, you can erase more. So if you're not that strong, you just gradually go down and your symptoms will decrease. But if you're strong, like that, you change it. So just, keep gradually clearing. Just don't give up, Steve. That's the important thing. Just be tenacious. That's the one thing that we have that entities don't have. They give up really easily. Just keep being tenacious. Keep changing your, mindset. Just don't give up and you won't lose. So long as you're alive, even if you're, 80 years old, you can start an energy training now and you will be able to overcome, the problems that you're having. No, I don't talk about physical affairs alongside. There's enough news people doing that. I'll probably do a video. I might talk about that. I feel like it's not a very good thing to bring up now because the energy regarding that is quite negative. But in the future, I may talk on that topic. Energy in particular, you may feel. I'm just talking about what I'm feeling. Like chalk is rubbing on your hands, but it's like coming off and becoming loose. That's good. Same with your feet. They feel very chalky. That's often negative energy. It can feel like that, just oozing out of your hands. The more energy that oozes out, the better, because that's not inside of you. It's gone. If you do, let's say you have a really bad thing, like your girlfriend of 5 years, you come home, she's having an affair with 4 different men, all right, all at once, and you go, oh, well, this is awful. My day is ruined, all right? But it's like, well, you're not going to snap and... No, all right? You have more to live for than these people do, right? You got to train your energy. You're here. You've got to, not do that. So this healing video will help, but you will naturally have to get those emotions out. This will make it that the negative entities can't weaponize that and, really turn them against you, but you will still have to process it. This isn't a get out of jail free card that you'll just have no emotions for anything. But this will make sure that 10 years from now, heck, even after a healthy amount of time, whatever that is for you, you won't have the problem of this, grief energy and anger towards your partner. If I discover something new or major about repressed emotions, I may do another healing video on repressed emotions in 1.5 to 2 years, but for now, I feel like this one's very strong. It should be very helpful for myself, first and foremost, and everyone else overall. This will work if it's downloaded. It will work if it's uploaded somewhere else other than YouTube. It'll work, no problem. You don't need to worry about that. Sure, yeah, take some sleep, Angela. I'm finished up anyway. So everyone, if things go well, I'll see you next week. Otherwise, take care.